I've done mine with white sticky tape. These are great. I can make one of these. Oh no, you're not supposed to.
And welcome to Here's One I Made Earlier, a brand new Blue Peter idea.
Our special video is packed with some of our best making and cooking ideas, and during the next hour you'll be able to see them and then play them back whenever you like, so it won't matter if you don't get all the details down the first time.
You've also got the little booklet that has come with the video that's got clear explanations of all the ideas, plus drawings to show most of the stages.
Just have a look at all the things we'll be showing you how to make. Now, this display is a lot of things that we made earlier. There's a terrific game, 2 delicious recipes that will suit everyone, great present ideas and decorations that you'll love making to celebrate Christmas and Easter. Now, Christmas can be a very depressing time for getting decorations, and every year they seem to get more and more expensive.
If you're looking for a celebrity for the Christmas party, well, a giant fluffy snowman is the man. He can be your star because underneath you can hide lots of presents and they can all come out. You can make him or his little brothers, whatever the size, just be thankful they're not as big as my family. They'll look fantastic on your Christmas dinner or tea table.
Now, they're just as good as anything in the shops, but they only cost a few pence because they're actually made out of stuck-together newspaper and cotton wool, and quite easy if you know how. And here is Yvette and Mark to show you how to make the middle-sized snowman.
And it's 4 or 5 layers of newspaper just stuck together with this funny-looking glue. In fact, it's flour and water mixed together, and it forms like this gooey paste, almost like double cream. And just slop it on there on the paper. Keep going, and then just put your paper on top and press it down nice and firmly, and then leave it to dry on a flat surface. So leave it to dry overnight. That's your best bet. That's what you must do. And then when it's dry, it comes out rock hard like this. And you can see that I've got a little fringe along the length of the newspaper. And these fringes are 3 centimetres along there and 7 centimetres down on the depth. And then what you must do is put some sticky back plastic paper along the side, it's stuck to my hand, and then fold, and this is where Mark comes in useful.
I haven't finished reading that bit yet of that newspaper.
You behave. And then you fold it together, like that.
You can sort of follow the line, can't
Yes, you do. And then you end up with a tube shape. And these fringe things here fold in, and they help to support the head.
Very good. Yes, now the head, first of all, the base of it is a piece of card like this, and you cut that smaller than the top. Put some glue around the outside, and then starting from the inside, make that fringe so that it turns in, and then place that on the top, and the fringy bits glue to the fringy bits, basically. So that just goes inside like that, and that's ready for the neck to go into it.
And we're also ready now for the cotton wool.
Bring in a needle.
And that's going to, okay then, and that's to put the nice snow covering on it. And this cotton wool is more than adequate for your snow body. And the good thing about this cotton wool is that you can peel it in half. So you get
good?
It is always a good day, isn't it? And then you get 2 sides for the price of 1, which is good.
Marvellous. So are we now going to glue this on then?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use rubber solution glue, which is the best for this. And just sort of daub it on. We don't have to be neat. Just stick it all on. And then if you work
Which way?
backwards, Yvette, can you do that?
Backwards.
Yeah.
Well, it's got a hole in it.
Now, the thing about this is, if you get it on your fingers, it's bad news, because then the cotton wool sticks to your fingers and you're in a real mess.
Like Mark's doing now.
It's all over the jacket, it's everywhere, folks. Also, using a brush is a good idea, but make sure it's not a paintbrush, somebody's best paintbrush. Just
Oh no,
use
make
no
sure
one
it's
like
not,
that, okay?
not like that. And do take your time over this, because you may find that you'll end up with patches all over your snowman's body, and that wouldn't be too good.
So when that's done, it should end up like this, totally covered in snow, so you can't see any newspaper around it at all. And then at the bottom, if there's a bit just sort of hanging over, just with a pair of scissors, just snip away. And if maybe it's a little bit too lumpy, just sort of snip bits off. But it must look like real snow, a bit lumpy.
You're getting a bit carried away there.
I love it.
And the head is made just out of sheets of paper. Just scrunch it in like that. And then
You can have twice, please, with scraps.
you can have twice out that cost you $2.99, please. I used to work in a fish and chip shop.
Did you?
Yeah, for about 1 day.
Get on with it.
I know. And then there's the head, and you take some more sheets of paper and you make it into a kind of handle, and just wind some sticky tape around the handle, and then you're ready to put some snow around it, or cotton wool. And once you've done that, then here's the good bit. You're ready to decorate him with the eyes, the nose, and his beads and mouth. And for the eyes and nose and beads, I've made it out of an egg carton. And just paint the underside of the egg carton. And before you cut them out, do make sure that the paint's dry. And then you're ready to glue on the eyes.
Shall I hold the head for you?
You hold the head for me while I glue. Now this is messy because it goes all over my fingers.
Of course, outside, I suppose you could use pieces of coal or snow or whatever, or stones. So it's got to look just like that.
Yeah, I used to use stones and a piece of carrot.
I used to love making snowmen. You used to start off with a small snowball and then roll it round and round till it got bigger and bigger.
I was never ever very good at it. I just didn't have the muscles.
I'm not surprised.
What do you mean I'm not surprised? Dear me. And there's his nose.
He's cold, is he?
He's cold. And the mouth is just a piece of black cardboard cut into the shape. And we've got a happy snowman, haven't we, Mark?
And you've done that fairly high up, Yvette, as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Is that so it doesn't get covered up?
That's so it doesn't get covered up by the scarf, which we will show you how to make later on.
OK, so then this now is ready to go into the body part. We just hope having two people is smiling. We're nearly there. OK, you start making the buttons.
OK.
All right, and I'll get on with the hat. Now, the hat starts off life as a piece of black card, like this. Just make it slightly taller than you need it to be, and then with that bit that's left over, just turn it over like that, fold it over, and then make a fringe going along, because you're going to use those bits, like we did before with the newspaper and the tube, just to stick on. OK, so do that all the way along the side. And then, down one side, down the short edge, just put either a piece of sticky tape or some glue, and then turn it over. Like that, OK? So it's nearly there. Now for the bottom part, or actually the top part of the hat, if you see what I mean. Piece of card, just cut it out, put some glue on, and then make sure they're folded down at the top. Those fringes, and then just stick card shape on top like that, OK? It should be as neat as that when you've taken more time over it. Now, for the bottom part of it, get some black card again. Maybe using an old dinner plate, you could just cut a large circle out. And then, this is perfect for this. First of all, run your way around the hat with a bit of yellow because you're going to cut out, so you want to follow that. And then to get the centre circle, and so that it's equal, I'll show you what needs to be equal in a minute. Just go around the inside of a sellotape reel or something. Like that, OK? And now pierce the centre, and then cut that circle completely out. It'll all make sense in a minute. I know you're thinking, what is he doing? But it will make sense. So go all the way around there. Like that. And then, just snip away, making a fringe, following that line, again, all the way around. And it should end up looking like that, OK? And then this, make sure that all the bits are sticking up. Put some glue or some sticky tape around the inside of that part, and then make sure that the fringes are all inside. Turn it over, they'll stick in, and you've got the top hat. Like that. What about that? Not bad, that is it. It's coming apart at the back, but never mind.
And here's the finished snowman, and he's got a piece of shiny ribbon around the brim of his hat and some holly stuck in the top.
Now then, finishing touch.
Now this is the scarf.
The scarf, just to cover up that. Maybe there's a bit of cardboard showing. Not anymore, not when you stick his scarf on. Just sort of turn it round like that.
And the scarf's made out of crepe paper as well.
Well, it was.
And if you're going to make a scarf, do remember to use double thickness of the crepe paper. And just for a little bit of effect, I've just cut a little bit of fringe at the end.
Now, the tall ones are made exactly the same, except you use more newspaper. What about the small ones?
The small ones used from bits of sheets of paper from the Radio Times.
Marvellous. I think you have to go a long way to find a decoration as good as this, and also one that's so cheap and easy to make.
They're excellent, aren't they? They're certainly different from any normal Christmas decorations.
I think they're just about as good as the real thing because they actually last a lot longer as well, don't they?
I think you're going to run home now and I think you're going to make some, aren't you?
I'll need lots of cotton wool. Go at the shop. Well, if you're someone who's always collecting interesting or important bits of paper or messages and you never know where to put them, well, have a look here. I've got a library ticket. I've got a message to phone the boss. I wonder what that's about. Oh, dear. I've also got details on the next filming schedule, and I've got a postcard from Harare in Zimbabwe. Well, what I need is a place to store all these treasures where they won't get lost. And this is the answer. We call it a personal pin board, and it's ideal for this sort of stuff. If we put the postcard up at the top there, the message to phone the boss later, there. Also got some things at the bottom as well.
Yeah, you've got a little pocket here as well. You can put your pens and your pencils and your scissors in there, and little bits and bobs that you don't want to lose. It's very, very useful.
As you can see, they're all shapes, sizes and colours, and you've probably guessed already what they're made from. They're the packaging trays that come with fruit, meat and vegetables that you get in the supermarket. So if you'd like to make a personal pin board, then what you've got to do is save up a few of these trays. Now, once you've got them, the next thing that you'll need is a strong piece of cardboard from a grocery box. Start by deciding how many trays you're going to use and where you're going to put them. So if you just place them there, and if you think that the cardboard is too big, you can always trim it down to the size that you want. I'm going to use these two. If you'd like some pockets to keep pens and pads and things in, then you'll need to cut one of the trays in half. Now this is a little bit tricky, so go very, very slowly with it because these tend to splinter and crack. You'll be able to take a bit more time than I'm doing it. And it doesn't matter with this if you don't cut it exactly in half because both pockets don't need to be the same size. Once you're happy with the layout, then you can decide on the colour scheme. Now some trays that you buy are already coloured like these ones, so you won't need to do anything with them at all. But if you've got white ones, then you can paint them either with poster paint, emulsion or gloss paint, just depending on the finish you want. Now you could also paint the background cardboard, or you could use sticky back plastic, like this. And that gives you an extra choice of a patterned background. Now this is a bit tricky to do, so the best thing is to lay the plastic out sticky side up, then put the cardboard, I'll put it this way around, very carefully at one end, and then just bend it down so that you don't get any wrinkles underneath. Now you have to make sure that you do this on a completely flat surface because otherwise little pockets of air tend to form. Then cut all the corners off. This is to give it a really professional finish. And this is a little bit tricky, just get all of those off. And these triangles which I'm cutting, don't throw those away because they're going to come in quite useful in a minute. Oh, I'm getting stuck to it. So just cut them like that. And then just simply bend the edges over it and stick them down really firmly all the way around. And you'll be able to see when I turn it over that cutting the corners off really does help this. There you are. It's a nice even surface. Now because, and to hang it up, you'll need a bit of string. Just get a bit about this length. Make a loop out of it, and then those little triangles that you cut off, just stick one of those across, like that. Now because the background is slightly shiny, the trays probably look best if they've got a dull finish. So I've painted them with emulsion paint. Now I'm going to use two colours. I've done the long tray a pale blue colour, and for the pocket a bright red. Now emulsion paint is the best one to use because it's really easy to slap it all on. And it also tends to dry to quite a good finish, and it doesn't really matter if you put it on a little bit unevenly. And be careful around the edges with this as well. It's best to do the top of it, just to make sure that it's finished off properly. Now leave those to dry, and when they are, then you can position them on the board exactly where you want them. Get a pen and just mark the positions carefully, and then to stick these on, all you need is a bit of clear adhesive. Put a few dabs around the edge or a very thin layer. And the good thing about using clear glue is that when it dries, it won't actually show up if you do go a little bit over the edges. Just put that on the marks and then do the same with the other one. Now you might find, just to make sure that they dry completely in position, that you should put a heavy book or an encyclopedia or something on top of them. Put that on like that. Put your book on and leave it to dry, and that's it really. It's very quick and simple. Now while that's drying, come up here and have a look at the others again, and you can see how you can adapt this idea to any bits of cardboard or any size of tray that you happen to find. Now they've all got pin boards, and if you get hold of some of these little map pins, you'll find they're just right to stick your notes in place. We've got another one over here which has got two pockets. Now it's exactly the same idea, just a slightly different layout. Or you might want to try something like this. It's got 3 pin boards on it, and it's done like very bright colours. But the best thing to do is just design one that suits you and all your requirements, and they also make very handy presents.
I bet your bedroom is not as tidy as that.
It is. That has transformed my life. Well, two things happened after I made those personal pin boards in Blue Peter. First of all, lots of people spotted my mistake. If you look really carefully, you'll see that once I'd stuck the loop on, I then put the pocket on upside down. So in fact, everything would have fallen out. We've had lots of letters from Christopher Clark and Margaret Ann Cherry and lots of others as well, who all won Blue Peter badges for their sharp eyes.
Well done. We also had letters from people who pointed out that many of those plastic containers that you get in supermarkets contain CFCs, the gases that are harming the ozone layer, and that by cutting the containers up, you release the CFCs. Well, these days, most supermarkets should be using containers that don't have CFCs in them. If in doubt, ask at the store.
One of the highlights of Blue Peter, as long as Mark was with us, was his cooking. And whenever Chef Curry was in the kitchen, literally anything could happen. But just occasionally, he pulled off an amazing triumph and cooked up a delicious recipe too. Now just look at this tasty tea time meal using homegrown vegetables, and it's called a veggie plait.
And here it is. And if I just cut it in half and turn it open, you can see that it's full of delicious vegetables in a mouth-watering puff pastry case. It's marvellous for high tea or supper, and it's perfect if you're a vegetarian because it contains no meat at all. And I've used Jerusalem artichokes and salsify from the Blue Peter garden, but you can use parsnips or turnips or sweet, in fact, any root vegetables. It doesn't matter, so long as you use the right quantity. Dead easy to make. If you want to have a go, I'll show you how to do it. OK, I'm going to use, for my veggie plait, a couple of medium-sized carrots, some artichokes and some some salsify and some mushrooms and a medium-sized leek. Chop all those up as small as you can and then put them into a saucepan with some water and bring them to the boil so that they end up nice and soft like that. They're just simmering away. Make sure that you don't boil all the goodness out of them. They don't want to be too soft. Then when you've done that, you transfer them to a bowl. You have to drain off all the water, make sure that the vegetables are as dry as possible. Use a sieve for that, and then just put them in the bottom like that, you see. They don't have to be too small chopped up. That'll do. Now, a very interesting flavour is added to this. The juice of an orange. If you haven't got one of those squeezer things, you can just squeeze it straight out. But that really does taste nice. After it's been cooked, you can taste the orange. Also, the rind of an orange too. No white, though. Make sure no pith goes into it. Just the rind and the juice. And then a tablespoon of plain flour, some mixed herbs, a teaspoonful of mixed herbs. They can be dried or fresh from the garden, if you grow them. And where would we be without the old black pepper? Give that a twist, used as a microphone. And then stir it round. So stir all, get rid of all the flour and all the herbs, make sure it mixes itself all up, like that. So those are the vegetables ready to put into the pastry. So now for making the pastry. Well, you need a big pastry board, like the one that I've got here. This is where you have some fun. This is real baking when you're making the pastry. And just make sure that you just put some of the flour on there so that it doesn't stick. Also make sure that you clear the area. I'm using a packet of a small packet of frozen pastry, but if you want to make your own pastry, you can get the method from any good recipe book. Now, sprinkle a bit. Oops, daisy. Flour everywhere, sprinkle a little bit. This is why you need to clear the area. Onto the rolling pin and start to roll it out. I'm going to try and make an oblong shape, and I want to roll it out to about a ½ centimetre thickness. While I'm doing this, I'll run through the ingredients for you. To make the veggie plait, you need 1 small packet of frozen puff pastry, 3 salsify, everybody's laughing, it's not laughing, 2 Jerusalem artichokes, 2 small carrots, 1 medium-sized leek, 4 mushrooms, 1 tablespoon of plain flour, grated rind and juice of 1 orange, teaspoon of mixed herbs, and some pepper. And remember, if you haven't got Jerusalem artichokes or salsify, you can use any root vegetables you like. Not exactly an oblong, is it? It's got a bit fun at the edge, but never mind. You get the general idea. You'd have to take more time over it. Now, with a small knife, you just need to score. A small knife or a large knife will do. Yeah, small knife. You just need to score down the 2 edges. Now, that isn't cutting all the way through. It's just scoring. Like that, just marking the top, OK? And then down each edge, you actually start to cut a sort of a fringe, like that, about a centimetre or 1.5 centimetres thickness, like that, OK? When you've done that, it should look, put that on the floor, like this. Now, can't you tell that I haven't done that one? Because that's a perfect oblong. So I've cut all the fringe and I've scored down the middle. In the middle area, stick your vegetables. Not too near the top. And don't bung them all in a lump in the middle, just sort of spread them out like this. Make sure that you get all the vegetables out as well, because now it's almost ready to do the plaiting part, which is great fun. So, starting at the top, put that one down there, and that one over there like that, and then bring them in, and that one like that. Oh yes, don't forget, by the way, just so that it sticks, I thought they weren't sticking, to put a bit of water on the edges, because that sort of acts as a glue. You see, to stick them up now, they should stick a bit better now. Where were we? That one there, that's it, they're sticking. Make sure that you tuck all the vegetables in, and you see how the plait begins to take shape? You can do this really quickly. And it's quite nice if you make the edges longer so that they really do fold over each other. And all the vegetables, as I said, just get tucked in. Just tuck the top in there. Now, that's going to go onto a baking tray. That can either be, you can grease it yourself or you can use a non-stick one. With a fish slice, transfer the whole thing over. It's going well, isn't it? To give it a professional touch, you need some milk. So just glaze the top of it like that. And this does really give it that nice golden brown look, that glazed look when it comes out. And then that's going into the oven. And it's going on gas mark 4 or 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. Stick that in the top. Oh, the smell is really delicious. It's always nice when you've done some baking. Great smell, and there it is. Look at that. Now, if you stick a bit of parsley on that, just for some decoration, and you start to cut it open, if it's just you and a guest, you can share it between you. It's a meal in itself. If you're not a vegetarian, of course, you can have it with some bacon or some sausages or an egg or anything you like, or just have it on its own. Veggie plait a la curry. Da-da-da.
Well, for once, he didn't spill anything.
It's quite miraculous,
Amazing, wasn't it?
We've got a little bit of a puzzle for you now. How can you make everybody smile at Easter with just a couple of yogurt pots, a cardboard box and 2 plastic pudding basins?
Here is the answer. It's a brilliant smiling Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall with a little bunch of spring flowers, and tucked inside him, wait for it, is some sweets. Look at that, it looks great, and it's very easy to make.
First thing you need to do, turn the yogurt pot upside down and draw with a pen or pencil around the top, like that. And then with a pair of scissors, make a hole in the centre of the circle and cut to the edge of the circle. And you end up making little triangles. Now you might need a little bit of help with this. Just keep cutting around. Make one more triangle. And then just push the triangles down, like that. And then put your yogurt pot in there. And then all you have to do now is decorate the box. So take the yogurt pot out first, and then you can paint it. Now, I painted this one grey, because when you get some black pen, it really shows out. So take a pencil, it's better to use a black pen, and draw some rough stones on it. But if you're a really arty person, then you could manage drawing, painting the box red and then drawing some very neat brickwork on it. And for a finishing touch, how about some grass, which is just a length of crepe paper, and I've cut a fringe along it. And then just stick that along the bottom with some sticky tape. Of course, you've got to make sure that the grass will go all the way around the box. There we are. And if you look at the finished box, you'll see that there's some very sweet animals on the grass. Now, these animals are just sticky little animals. There's some Easter chicks and a bunny, and you can get those at most toy shops. So I'm going to stick my animals in the corner, like that. And there we are, there's the finished box. And then all you have to do is put the pot back into the wall. And all we have to do now is make the Humpty, which is very, very easy to do. All that is just 2 pudding bowls. Paint one red. Now you can either use enamel or emulsion paint. And then the top, you can just leave its normal colour, because that's really egg-coloured anyway. And then all you have to do is make the features. Now, for the features, I'm just using some sticky circles, and for the pupils, just some smaller blue circles. And I hope I don't make him cross-eyed. Put an eye there, and another eye there. I hope that's level. Oh, sort of.
And then for the smiley mouth, I've just used some sticky back plastic. Yeah! It's a really happy Humpty. There we are. And then I'm going to make him very smart indeed. For this, I've made him a tie. Now, you can make this out of ribbon or any sort of material. I've made mine out of paper. And just stick him on with some sticky tape. Try and get it straight. And then just give him a collar. And just stick that with some sticky tape at the front. And then at the back, or Humpty's neck, whichever you prefer to call it, I'll put some more sticky tape so it'll secure the collar. Put the other side on. And just stick it around. Of course, you could use glue for this, it doesn't really matter. And there's his collar. Doesn't he look smart? It looks great. Now, because his head's flat, you're going to need a hat. And for this, you can use a yoghurt pot or a cottage cheese pot. Paint the base black, like that. And then you can put some glue or some sticky tape on the lid. And then, hey presto, there's his hat. And again, I put one of those little sticky chicks on the top. Doesn't he look smart? And now all we have to do is do the nest. And for that, again, just use one of these yoghurt pots again. Put that inside with the lid on, just to give it a little bit of height. And for the nest itself, I've used some crepe paper, blue and white, coordinating with his tie. I think of these things, you know. Put a bit in there. Now, you can either use 3 small eggs to go inside, or you could use a big egg. But I think the 3 eggs would be a little bit cheaper, so put 3 eggs in there. Ooh, that looks lovely. And then put him back on. There he is. And I'm going to put him on his wall. There you are. Now all I have to do is fill the vase with some water and put some flowers in. Now you can put any sort of flowers in. I'm putting some daffs in because I like daffs. And I think you'll agree he makes a very happy, cheery Easter decoration. So when it's Easter, don't forget to make your Humpty Dumpty decoration. And I bet with a little bit of imagination, you could think of other times you could use it as well.
Our next idea is something which will keep you very busy, especially if you get bored during those long school holidays. It's a game which we've called Six-pint Skittles. Now, it's a bit tricky, but a bit practice and you're going to be very good. It's a bit like 10-pin bowling, but with one big difference.
Yes, and when you've had a go and you've knocked down some Skittles, you don't have to look for them all over the floor, which is a little bit of a pain in the neck. All you have to do, all you have to do is just pick them up like this and flip them back. It's a very easy game to make, and here's Karen to show you how to do it.
To start with, you will need a strong bit of cardboard. The bottom of a grocery box is fine. Cover it in sticky back plastic. This will make it stronger and also stop it from getting wet if it's outside. But don't worry if you haven't got any, because painting is just as good. It's a lot cheaper, and you can also make whatever pattern you want to. For the Skittles, you'll need 6 bottles like these ones, and they're the ones that milk and flavoured drinks come in. Wash them out, let them dry, and if you can't get the cap off, then just trim it around the edges so that it looks neat. We'll now place the bottles on the board and decide what kind of layout you would like. Now, the best pattern is to have 1 at the front and the rest laid out to form a triangle, so I can have 2 in the middle, like that, and then 3 at the back. And the bottles need to be spaced out far enough so when they're knocked over, they don't bang into each other. When you've decided where you want them, then just lift them up and make a little mark underneath like that so you'll know where the bottles have to go. Each bottle then needs its own base to stand on, and these squares of card are just big enough for each one to stand on. I've cut these from the flaps on a grocery box, and again you can either paint them or cover them with sticky back plastic to match the base. Now, to fix them onto the bottle, the best way is to turn it upside down and then balance the card on top like that. Quite get it like that, that's fine. And then to secure it, if you get a length of sticky back plastic and put it across the square and down the sides. And if you do this on both sides, it'll make sure that it's really secure, because if you're playing, they might get knocked about a little bit. Let's do that. And just to make sure that it's extra safe and to decorate it a bit as well, if you get another piece of coloured sticky tape and then lay it across the bottle like that. Now, there are little ridges on these bottles, so if you just use those as a guideline, Let's do that one, and then you can do them another one up here, and then maybe one round the top. And different colours could be used for different scores. For instance, red could score 5 and blue 4, and so on like that. Now, to fix the bottle to the baseboard, you will need some sticky back plastic, twice the size of the bottle base. And just to make sure that it fits exactly, if you place the bottle like that, and then draw around it, and that'll give you a perfect square, and then move it back and draw around it again. Cut it out and then peel the backing off just half the plastic. Then place the base of the bottle onto the plastic and make sure that it's well stuck down. And when you think it's firmly in place, then peel the rest of the backing paper off. To fix it onto the base, if you bend that back, so the sticky side is out, now you need to make sure that the bottle falls towards you, so just place it over the X, stick it down very firmly, and there you are, the bottle will now flap backwards and forwards. Do this with all 6 bottles, and for a final touch, you could decorate the baseboard. I've done mine with white sticky tape, but I'm sure you'll think of hundreds of different ideas. Now, to actually play with that, we found that old tennis balls are probably the best sort of ball to use, but you might find something better. You could even play it with a pair of rolled-up socks, and you wouldn't break anything around the house.
You made that very well.
Thank you very much. I have to say that you were the last person I would give a game like that to.
Nobody could play it, could they? Time now for another one of my famous recipes, only this one wasn't mine at all. It was sent to us by Lucy Carruthers, who comes from Formby in Lancashire. Now, Lucy is a diabetic, which means that she has to take great care about what she eats. But even with her illness, there are plenty of tasty things that she can eat, and she helped me make one of them. It's called Diabetic Apple Sponge.
We start off with an ordinary cooking apple, right, and then you slice it up into little pieces, like that.
And you put
then
some
you
water
put some
in
water in it.
Is that just enough water to cover up the apple?
Yes, and then you pour some lemon juice into it.
Now, why the lemon juice?
To make it a bit sweeter.
Oh, right.
Right, and then we put these to cook gently on the stove.
Is that until it becomes like mush?
Yeah.
OK, how long should that take?
5 to 10 minutes. I'm not
OK,
sure.
well, we'll leave that there for now. We'll come back to the apples in a minute. Next.
Right, you get 4 tablespoons of wholemeal flour.
Now, why wholemeal flour?
Because it's good for me and it takes longer to digest. And it's also got a lot of bran and fibre in it.
So it's a good bit of roughage in there.
Yes.
OK.
Right.
Self-raising wholemeal flour.
You get half a teaspoonful of cinnamon and half a teaspoonful of baking powder.
So the baking powder just makes it rise nicely. And just to stress, this is suitable for everybody to make, it's not just for diabetics. OK. Oh, another dish now.
Right.
I hope you're doing the washing up, are you?
I'm not sure. Right, you get 75 grams or 3 ounces of margarine.
Could you use butter if you wanted to?
Yes, but margarine is better.
OK.
You get 2 tablespoons of fructose, that is fruit sugar.
So that's pure sugar,
Pure
not refined,
sugar,
and
not
straight from the fruit.
refined. Yeah.
And that's OK to eat.
And you tip that in there like that. And then...
Give that a good old mix. Shall I do that?
Okay.
Give it a good old mix around like this. Make sure we get all the sugar in. Like that. Is this until this is nice and creamy?
Yeah.
OK.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Next.
Right. You get your flour mixture.
So this goes back into there, does
This
it?
goes into there. Like that.
I'm glad you're here. Isn't it organised? Have you ever seen the kitchen so organised?
Right.
Shall I mix that round?
Yeah. Mix that around a little bit. Right, then you stop. Let's stop that. That's
Okay.
one side. Right, so you get a little bowl and then you get 2 egg yolks.
So you've separated those?
Yes, we
Is that a difficult
separate
job?
them. Not very.
It would be if I did it. Shall I put this into there?
Right, then you flop that all into there, like that, and then give it all a good stir round.
OK. What about the egg whites then?
They come in a minute.
Right, I'm rushing things a bit, sorry, Lucy.
Right, so you get your milk,
Yeah?
you pour 2 tablespoons of milk in.
Is that skim milk?
Skim milk, but it can be ordinary milk, but skim milk is better.
OK.
Right, that's okay. Put that to one side for me. Right. Right, these are your egg whites, and then you get a beater, and then you beat them all together.
Right, well, I'll leave that to you because you look like you're doing a good job there. So I'll go through this. By the way, just to mention about those eggs, if you're worried about salmonella, the eggs are going to get very well cooked because obviously it's going to go in the oven for quite a while. So for Lucy's delicious apple cake, you need apple sponge. You need 1 large cooking apple that's sliced in some lemon juice, then 4 tablespoons of self-raising wholemeal flour. Very important it's wholemeal. Half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, then 75 grams, that's 3 ounces of margarine, 2 tablespoons of skimmed milk, 2 large eggs, 2 tablespoons of fructose, that's pure fruit sugar. How are the eggs doing?
That's okay, yeah, that's fine.
What's that little thing you did there? That's quite good.
Well, that's to make sure that it's stiff, and when you sort of pull it out, it's supposed to make a point, and that is fine.
Okay.
So tip all that in there like that.
Right. Do I just mix all that up?
No,
Oh! What have I done wrong?
take the spoon out.
Oh, I see. So what do you got to do? Now, why have you switched spoons?
Right, this is called folding. This is a folding motion, and it's to let all the air in, and because we've changed spoons, is because it lets more air in than the wooden spoon.
Oh, I remember Marty with the Eccles cakes told me about folding. Shall I get the apples?
Okay, get the apples.
Now, these are the ones that have got all nice and mushed. So there's quite a bit on there. Can you just sort of cut it up if it's not mushy enough?
Yes, you cut it up if it's not mushy enough.
Can I stick this in?
Yeah, just stick
Do
it
you
in.
mind? You're very good at folding. There you go. That was delicate, wasn't it?
It's splashed all over me, thank you.
So just... Oh, that's really good. Who taught you how to fold like that, then?
My mum?
Your mum. So how's that doing? Is it nearly ready to
That's
sort of...
fine, it's ready.
OK, right. So now we can get a grease-proofed
Dish.
oven-proof dish. You can put it in. There you go. There you go. All that goes in there, like that. Oh dear, it's all over the table, never mind. Make sure we get all the bit out. Like that. Straighten it all out. Oh, there's 3 little dollops. Now this can go in. This is where we get the oven gloves. Now, how long does it go in for? 20 minutes?
20
about?
minutes.
And it goes in at 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit on gas mark 5. And hey presto,
Here's one we
made
did
earlier. She's been dying to say that all day. There, doesn't it look beautiful? How do you know if it's ready?
Because you get a knife and then you stick it in, and if it comes out greasy, you know it's not ready. But if it doesn't come out greasy, you know it is ready.
Well, this is okay. So let's turf it out onto there. Now just look at that. Isn't that superb and very easy to make? We won't eat that because that's a bit too hot. What about a piece of this? Do you fancy a piece of this?
Yeah, I thought that was terrific.
Great.
Have a quick go.
Have a little.
This is lovely.
We're just reminding ourselves of how good Lucy's apple sponge tastes. Thanks, Lucy. Of course, it tastes lovely for everyone, not just diabetic people. And by the way, fructose, which is fruit sugar, can be eaten by anyone, and any good chemist should have it.
Now for one of the best things Yvette's ever made is just the thing if you're always being told to tidy your room. What happens is that you end up with a load of stuff and nowhere to put it. It's a monster problem with a monster answer. Just shove everything into a beastie box. This revolting beastie will gobble up all your mess and will still be hungry. And we better put George in there. So to make a wee beastie, here's Yvette.
You need a grocery box like this. Start by painting the front and inside a dark colour, and then cover the rest of your box any way you like to match your room or just to look revolting. And you can paint it for extra strength, or you could cover it like I've done with some sticky back plastic. Now the first thing to make are the eyes, and these are made out of sections from a toilet roll, and I've painted those black. And for the eyeballs, I've used some sticky paper circles. Now to make the eyes roll, lay one white circle down, sticky side up, if I can get it up my fingers, and then get a length of cotton and put it there. Ooh! And lay it down and stick it on. And then sandwich the cotton with another piece of sticky paper, like that. There you are. Now to get a good glare, I've used a red sticky circle like those, or you could just as easily colour them with felt tip pens or with some paint. Now I've left the thread long because, as you can see from
the finished one, there, I've threaded it through the eye socket, and you can do this with a needle, just like sewing on a button. And it hangs loose and wobbles in sort of a revolting way. Ugh. Now, I'll put those aside, as you can see. And this is how to make the other features. Now, the mouth comes from half a plastic pot. Cut that in half with some scissors. And this is a bit tricky, so you might need a hand with this. There we are. Just managed to do that. And this makes the base for a mouthful of fangs. Ugh. Now, I've cut these from cardboard, and you fix them into place under this lip. But get some sticky tape first and just stick them underneath, like that. And you can see the face is beginning to take shape. Now, it's very easy to fix the features in place with some sticky tape. And you don't even need to be particularly neat about it, because all this mess is going to be finally completely covered with some shaggy hair. So I'll just put some sticky tape there, and a bit over here, just to secure it in place. You don't have to stick the hair on strand by strand. There's an easy way to make it in strips ready to cover the box. It's best to start with the eyebrows and the moustache. Start it by winding the wool round a piece of cardboard, like this. Do it loosely, okay, and make it wide enough so that the hair will hang down over the eyes and over the mouth. So wind the wool round like that, and so you can slide it down as well. And when you've got a bit overlapping here, just stick it with some sticky tape. Then get some double-sided sticky tape, lay that on top of the wool, like that. Turn it over, take some scissors, and just snip the wool in half, like that. And then you turn it over, it's sort of like a wig. And then cut along the length of the sticky tape as well. In the middle, try and keep it as in the middle as you can, like that. And any spare bits of wool you get left over, just get rid of them. And there we have 2 bits ready to be made into eyebrows and a moustache. Now, to make the eyebrows, just snip one in half. Okay? Now, this is getting a bit fiddly, so instead of taking the backing tape off, and you won't get bored, I've got some over here. All right? So then, you're ready to put your eyebrows on, like that. And another one over here. And the moustache as well. You can always give these a bit of a trim. I think I'll do that as well, so you can actually see the eyes. That's important. It's almost like cutting hair. Bom, 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 bom. And a bit there. What about the moustache? It's a bit long, that. It'll get in his soup. There we are. And then you can cover the whole face in exactly the same way, just by winding the wool round a piece of card. And as you can see, I've already done that. And then just stick that onto the face, and then do exactly the same thing again, just overlapping it each time you do it so you can't see the joins. And for a final touch, some claws. Look at that, aren't they awful? And they're just made in exactly the same way, out of cardboard and the wool. And just put some sticky tape there and put them underneath. There they are. It looks grand. It looks just like one of the wild things from the Maurice Sendak stories, rolling his terrible eyes, gnashing his terrible teeth and showing his terrible claws. And the claws are stuck to the bottom, and because this is a lady beastie here, I've given her some very shiny nails. She looks very posh indeed. And I've finished both the beasties off with a strip of woolly hair all around the top, which gives the box a really neat edge. Now, each of these beasties takes about half a ball of wool, and the thickness and colour can be anything you like. No matter what you choose, they all end up really horrible.
We speak it cowering, timorous beastie, man with the panics and they breasty.
I beg your pardon?
Well,
That's a bit of Robbie Buttons for you. And very nice hats as well.
these are great. I could do with one of these.
Oh, no, you're not supposed to put it on
There's all these toys inside.
Turn that alarm clock off.
Well, what are you?
Obviously not to be used as a hat.
Definitely not. Well, I'm afraid we've already reached the last of our making ideas, but it's a very special one to end with. All the things that you've seen so far were first shown on Blue Peter, but coming up now is something brand new that will only be seen on this video.
And it will be made by John Leslie, one of his first attempts at a Blue Peter make. Good luck, John.
Thankfully, it's a very simple idea, but it's extremely useful. You've guessed it, it's a sunshade for a car. This one's got a snazzy pair of sunglasses drawn on it, but you could simply paint on a nice, cool colour like this. The beauty of these shades is that they really do keep cars cool in summer, and never again will you risk burning your hands and backside when you return to a car that's been parked in the sun for a few hours. The screens, well, they fold neatly up like a concertina for easy storage when the weather changes. Let's admit it, the weather does change quite a lot in this country, doesn't it? The ingredient, all you need, is one large cardboard box, which you carefully dismantle by tearing up one of the ends of the strips of the cardboard boxes. And some boxes will obviously be harder than the rest, but hopefully they won't be too stiff. Once you've opened it up like that, lay the strip on the floor. You may actually find that it's a bit longer than the normal windscreen of a car like mine is, so if you cut off one of the shorter ends, now we have one here, you don't really need a ruler because this one has got a sort of cardboard crease in it already. Now, a pair of sharp scissors always comes in useful, especially for cardboard. So if we cut that along there, with a struggle, it makes it. The auto shade then rests on the dashboard and slots underneath the rear view mirror. So what you'll need to do now is to cut out a small section on one of the long sides. So again, if you find in the middle, this one conveniently has a crease along in the inside. If it doesn't, then just draw a line about 10 centimeters down and then right across there like so. So again, get your sharp scissors, cut along the line. And this cardboard is quite stiff, so just cut away. Now comes the best part. It's just like making a fan. Fold the length of the cardboard into equally sized panels. Now you should find it quite easy to bend the cardboard along the ridges, but use about 4 inches. Put a ruler down so that you can get a good sort of grip and fold it over like so. Now do that on both sides and take your time while you're doing this because it will look better when it's finished. Crease it down like that. Now do that right along till the end of your piece of cardboard. And once you're finished with that, it's time for the decoration. Now, if you're a bit of an artist, you could let your imagination run absolutely riot, like the old sunglasses on the car. No, it's not Mark's car, but quite a good guess. Well, I'm not so brilliant with the old paintbrush, so I've done this one, especially for my dad and my mum. Hope you like it.
It's
what do you think of this one, then, James?
Really good idea.
Because sometimes when the sun's streamed in, it's so hot you can't even grasp the steering wheel.
No, that's it. All you need is the sun.
Yes, that'll be the big problem. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed. Here's one we made earlier. We've certainly enjoyed putting it all together and picking out some of our favourite moments.
Now remember to see all our new ideas. Keep watching Blue Peter on Mondays and Thursdays on BBC One.
Yes, and good luck making these ideas. I hope they turn out well and that you enjoy having a bash at doing them.
So until the next time we see you on Blue Peter, from all of us,
Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.